It's Saturday, 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 and it's Halloween. It's the end of October. Can you believe tomorrow we walk into the 1st of November? Our three readings today is from Psalms 107, verses 1 through 7, and then 33 through 37. Our Old Testament reading is Joshua chapter 2, verses 15 through 24. And our New Testament reading is from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 23, verses 13 through 28. Now hear these words, first from Psalms 107, 1 through 9. Oh, thank God. He's good. His love never runs out. All of us, all of you, set free by God. Tell the world. Tell how he has freed you from oppression. Then rounded you up from all over the place, from the four winds, from the seven seas. Some of you wandered for years in the deserts, looking but not finding a good place to live, half starved and parched with thirst, staggering and stumbling on the brink of exhaustion. Then in your desperate condition, you called out to God. He got you out in the nick of time. He put your feet on the wonderful road that took you straight to a good place to live. So thank God for his marvelous love, for his miracle mercy of his children that he loves. He poured great draughts of water down parched throats. The starved and hungry, they got plenty to eat. And we continue in 107 with verses 33 through 41. God turned rivers into wasteland, springs of water into sun-baked mud, luscious orchards into alfalfa flats, because of the evil of the people who lived there. Then he changed wasteland into fresh pools of water, and earth into springs of water, brought in the hungry and settled them there. They moved in. What a great place to live. They sowed the fields, they planted vineyards, they reaped the bountiful harvest. He blessed them and they prospered greatly. The herds of cattle never decreased. But abuse and evil and trouble declined, and he heaped scorn on princes and sent them away. He gave the poor a safe place to live, treated their clans like well-cared for sheep. Our Old Testament reading today comes from the book of Joshua, chapter 2, verses 15 through 24. Hear these words. She lowered them down out of a window with a rope because her house was on the city wall to the outside. She told them, run for the hills so your pursuers won't find you. Hide out for 3 days and give your pursuers time to return. Then get on your way. The men told her, in order to keep this oath you made us swear, here is what you must do. Hang this red rope out the window through which you let us down, and gather your entire family with you in your house. Father, mother, brothers, and sisters. Anyone who goes out the door of your house into the street and is killed, it's his own fault. We aren't responsible. But if everyone within the house, we take full responsibility. If anyone lays a hand on one of them, it's our fault. But if you tell anyone of our business here, the oath you made us swear is canceled. We're no longer responsible. She said, if that's what you say, that's the way it is, and sent them off. They left, and she hung the red rope out the window. They headed for the hills, and they stayed there for 3 days until the pursuers had returned. The pursuers had looked high and low, but found nothing. The men headed back. They came down out of the hills, crossed the river, and returned to Joshua, son of Nun, and reported all of their experiences. They told Joshua, yes, God has given us the whole country to us. Everyone there is in a state of panic because of us. Our New Testament reading today is from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 23, verses 13 through 28. And in the Message, the heading is called Frauds. I've had it with you. You're hopeless. You're religious scholars, you Pharisees, frauds. You live lives are roadblocks to God's kingdom. You refuse to enter and won't let anyone else in either. You're hopeless. You're religious scholars and Pharisees, frauds. You go halfway around the world to make a convert. But once you get him, you make him a replica of yourselves. Double damned. You're hopeless. What arrogant stupidity. You say, if someone makes a promise with his fingers crossed, that's nothing. But if he swears with his hand on the Bible, that's serious. What ignorance. Does the leather on the Bible carry more weight than the skin on your hand? And what about this piece of trivia? If you shake hands on a promise, that's nothing. But if you raise your hand that God is your witness, that's serious? What ridiculous hair splitting. What a difference does it make whether you shake hands or raise hands? A promise is a promise. What difference does it make if you make your promise inside or outside a house of worship? A promise is a promise. God is present, watching and holding you to account regardless. You're hopeless. You religious scholars and Pharisees, frauds. You keep meticulous account books, tithing on every nickel and dime you get. But on the meat of God's law, things like fairness and compassion and commitment, the absolute basics, you carelessly take it or leave it. Careful bookkeeping is commendable, but the basics are required. Do you have any idea how silly you look writing a life story that's wrong from start to finish, nitpicking over commas and semicolons? You're hopeless. You religious scholars and Pharisees, frauds. You burnish the surface of the cups and bowls so that they sparkle in the sun, while the inside are maggoty with your greed and gluttony. Stupid Pharisees! Scour the inside, and then the gleaming surface will mean something. You're hopeless, you religious scholars and Pharisees, frauds. You're like manicured grave plots, grass clipped, flowers bright, but 6 feet down, there's nothing but rotting bones and worm-eating flesh. People look at you and think, you're saints. But beneath the skin, you're total frauds. And here ends our readings for the day.